I was in $80,000 debt. I had the school debt. I had some debt from my ex that didn't pay off my credit cards that I had to take, half of because, I was helping him with his business, but I put on my personal card. And I had 2 kids on my own, as well as working full time. So if I feel like if I can do something like that, then I think most people can, because I think with my 50 properties and my portfolio is probably worth 14 or so million. Yeah, I mean, they're not all paid off, so I'm not celebrating it, but once they're all paid off, I'll probably have 120K coming in every single month.
Welcome to another episode of Voices of Power, the podcast where we bring you real life stories from real people who lead, inspire, and create change. Each episode, we sit down with leaders and visionaries who have turned challenges into opportunities and built legacies that inspire others to rise. I'm your host, Ahmed Moeddin, joined by my co-host, Sid Yasser, and today we have an incredible story to share with you.
Today we have with us Farrah Ali. She is somebody who embodies that voice of power. She is a star entrepreneur. She started out as a single mother, and she started a real estate and wealth building institute where she coaches. She's a certified life coach as well, and her book Diaries of a Female Real Estate Investor has reached Wall Street's top 10 bestsellers. So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Should I be looking at you guys or should I be looking in the camera?
Anywhere.
Okay, all right.
Yes, yes.
So thank you again for joining us and being on our show, Voices of Power. So we want to start off with before you started in real estate, what was life like before real estate?
So before real estate, I was working a 9 to 5 job. So back in 2001, I got a job just doing data entry. And fast forward, I got promotions, so I was making a pretty decent income. However, at the time in 2009, I ended up getting separated and then divorced in 2011. And when I got separated, I kind of just walked out with nothing, just my 2 kids, and walked into a house that was had nothing in it and started fresh, from scratch. So knowing that I would have to take care of both of my kids on my own, I was like, okay, the 9 to 5 isn't going to really do much for, just the day. It's just paycheck to paycheck. I won't be able to take care of these kids, much longer on that income. So I was like, what do I do? So basically, I started researching, and well, before I started researching in real estate, I thought to get really wealthy, I would have to go back to school because I never finished my undergrad. So I was like, okay, let me get my degree and I'm going to make all this money. So I got my degree, my undergrad. And then right after that, I was like, oh, I'm on a roll. Let me just get my MBA. I'm like, I'm going to be so extremely rich, with getting this MBA, because that's what I was thought in my head. So I went and got my MBA. I graduated in 2013, and I was like, hey, boss, look, I got, my MBA. And they did give me a raise, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, right? With corporate, when you get a raise, by the time taxes and everything is taken out, it's a couple $100 every 2 weeks. So I was like, all right, this is going to get me taekwondo for the kids or something, not what I thought. So that's when I then started researching. I'm like, how do people get rich? I just didn't understand it. So it looked like 90% of the people got successful investing in real estate. And that's kind of where then I started heading. So that was my situation prior to.
So how was the mindset like when you decided to quit your corporate job? Because it was a risk since you had 2 kids to take care of.
Yeah. So when I started doing real estate, I did not quit my job because I was brand new into real estate. So remember, I had to take care of the kids by myself. So I needed to make sure I had that steady income, right? The insurance and and expenses to pay the house. What I did was I worked full time, and then on part time, I would work on real estate. So remember that when I was going back to school and those extra hours that I studied, part time, I just converted that into putting into real estate, right? So then as I built my portfolio, so as I started my first property and then my second and then my fifth and my ninth, once I hit my 40th rental, is when I finally quit corporate America, which was in 2021.
Oh, wow, mashallah. That's
Yes.
very smart. Because I remember my aunt used to do real estate. She
Mhm.
said she started from 20,000 and she ended up building a portfolio of 7 million.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
It never kind of it never synced in to me. So
Mhm.
would you, is that possible? Is that something that can be done?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say, I mean, I'm on my fifth, like I've done over 100 real estate transactions. So between
Mashallah.
wholesales, flips, and I currently own about 50 rental properties now.
Mashallah.
So yeah, that's totally possible because for me, like I was in $80,000 debt. I had the school debt. You know, I had some debt from my ex that didn't pay off my credit cards that I had to take, half of because, I was helping him with his business, but I put on my personal card. So I had that to pay off as well. So being in a position where I had like no, support financially from anywhere else, um, and I had two kids on my own, as well as working full time. So if I feel like if I can do something like that, then I think most people can because I think with my 50 properties and my portfolio is probably worth 14 or so million. Yeah, I mean they're not all paid off, so I'm not like celebrating it. But once they're all paid off, I'll probably have 120K coming in every single month net. Yeah, so that's my next goal is paying these properties off.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
So in real estate, let's say it was me who's just starting out. So what would you recommend? Do I start out with wholesale? Do I start off with flipping? And how does that work? Because I have no idea.
It's different for different people because a lot of people ask me that question, like, where should I start out? And people think that wholesaling, if you have no experience, wholesaling is the way to go.
Okay.
Wholesaling actually is something that you do have to know real estate kind of fairly well in order to do it because you have to understand the investor's mindset, right? You have to know how to do rehab numbers. You have to know how to, calculate all those costs in order to figure out what you can wholesale something for. So, it depends on the situation. So for me, like even though I had all this debt, I had the 9 to 5, which was a steady W-2 income. So for people who have a steady W-2 income and if they're looking to grow their portfolio, I would say start with rentals because you already have the day-to-day expenses taken care of.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now you're just building your portfolio on the side. For those people that have no job or anything like that, and they're looking for money from real estate to live off of, they would need to do either wholesales or flips.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's like income coming in. That's active income.
Yes.
Passive income is the rentals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for doing flipping, you're gonna need a lot of capital up front, but it's gonna pay out bigger, right?
So for wholesaling, you don't need any capital, right? As long as you have a great deal.
Okay.
So somebody that has like access to no money at all, like I would say wholesale is the way to go because other than putting in some earnest money down, you don't need any other money. For flips, there's options. There's private money lenders out there. There's hard money lenders out there. So you don't have to have a lot of capital. That's also a myth. That myth is like you have to have 20% down to do real estate. I'm currently helping a student right now where they don't have much money at all. They have less than $10,000 in their bank account. However, I partnered them up with somebody that has private funds. So as long as a deal is good, they're going to partner together on a deal. So maybe, she won't make like 50, 60,000 for her first deal. But if she can make 25, 30 and gain experience while doing the project and also the lender is taking care of the financial obligation, that's a win-win for everybody, right? Course, so it's like baby steps. And sometimes people want to just, start and do everything themselves. Sometimes you have to start off in partnerships.
Of course, of course. So when you started out, what were some of the mistakes that you made that were, it took a toll, but you kept going, something like that. What would you say?
So for me, I would say the mistakes didn't start when I started off. Mistakes happened later on. So I'll explain why. Okay. So when I started off, because I had limited capital, remember I was in debt. So each property that I had to do, I had to like scrutinize and detail and make sure that the rehab costs were, going to be within a certain amount. Like I did all my calculations, spent like, a couple hours just making sure that I'm vetting every little thing, right? Because I have money, I have something to lose, right? if I go south, I don't have that kind of money to just put in. So I would be really, really careful. My first property, I would call it beginner's luck. I within like a month of me starting real estate, I was able to get something under contract. But my second property, it took me 9 months to get, because I thought I was like, when things are so easy, you're like, oh, I got this, that kind of thing. And I was like, so I got this big head, and then I was like, oh, great, like it's taking me a while. And then, again, like even that first deal, it's not like I took money for myself,
Of course,
so I'm still in that tight position. So I had to make sure that that deal like was going to make sense numbers wise, that I could not lose any money, nor could I have any money invested in that deal at that time. So that's why it took me 9 months. But during that 9 months is when I realized that that's when I actually started getting good at looking for properties, because sometimes we it's that self, like instant gratification, where like you get a property right away, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like you're doing the numbers and you get denied, and you're doing the numbers, you get denied. But now I could take a look at the property within 5 minutes of my phone and be like, okay, this is a good one, that type of thing. So, but fast forward to, building my portfolio. So I'm hitting 20, 25, 30 properties, right? And I'm so focused on acquiring properties and getting the rehabs done that I forget to pay attention to my portfolio that's going on, because this is a separate business. And this is what I'm going to tell everybody when they're doing real estate, is that the first 40 properties I did not, I managed it myself. And I don't regret managing it myself, because I got to learn what real estate management was like, and nobody cares about your properties as much as you care about your own properties. But after 40 properties, it gets a lot. It's too much. You're almost like doing, too much of it. So I ended up giving it to a friend, or a family friend, so for a bit. But what I did was I didn't pay attention to raising rents, for example. So I was like, okay, I've got a 2-3 year lease, whatever it is, and this is my fault, because I was the person in charge of the leases. Like the other person that I had, I'm like, if there's a maintenance call, you just have them take care of it.
Yeah.
But I was in charge of that, so I was just like, oh, you know what? I have a 30-year mortgage. The payments aren't really going to go up much, so why am I going to increase rents for somebody who's paying? So 6-7 years go down the line on some of these rentals, and the taxes have gone up, and I'm not paying attention. So what happened is my cash flow was like basically like
Plateau.
not plateau, like I was breaking even.
Okay.
Right, because that's how much taxes have gone up in the last 6-7 years, especially in Cook County.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, I'm like, why is the money in my account not as much as I used to get? That was like my my thinking, like, what, like something's off,
Yeah.
So that's when I started, and this has happened the last year, is when I was like, there's something off. So I actually look at my entire portfolio, and I'm like, okay, here are the properties that the taxes went up on. Here's what market rent could have been. So at least 20 or 30 of my properties, I was missing between $500 and $800 a month net cash flow.
On each property.
Yes.
Wow.
Every month. Yeah. If I took those like 20, 25 properties that I could have. Yeah, exactly. That's like $20K a month, like that's not change. Yeah.
All based on the increase in taxes, or property taxes?
Yeah. So the taxes have been increased. Insurance has been increasing as well. So like dummy me, like I was like not increasing rents, and I should have, But I do know that I did hear someone say, oh, if you don't increase rents, because if you have a good paying tenant, but today I would not give that advice, because other costs have gone up, right? Yes. So you have to manage your cash flow as well. Yes. This is a separate business. Yes. Acquiring is a separate business.
Yes.
So I would say that the mistake happened more later on, because you get kind of relaxed after a while, right? And when you start making money, you don't pay attention to the way that I used to pay attention to money before, like where you're like, exactly, like budgeting, whatever, and so that was my learning lesson, Yeah.
So between your first property and the 9-month wait, well, did you ever feel like, this is not worth it, it's not working out? Because when people initially start something, they're really hyped up, and they get their first thing done, and then it doesn't really work out for a while.
Yeah.
They just give up. So what kept you going?
What kept me going was I don't give up. Like that's just my mindset. So if I can see other people doing it, I believe that I can do it too. And it's a matter of just tweaking. And I also knew that I had a little bit of a disadvantage because some of the other people that were doing real estate had a little bit of funds in their bank account, right? I didn't. So I'm just that type of person where like I'll get frustrated with myself, but I'll just keep going, you know? I think it's all a mindset thing.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Was there anyone that you know helped instill that mindset with you? Like as I read your book a little bit, so like
Yeah, I tell everybody. I've actually in my course that I have for the Real Estate Wealth Building Institute, in there I have a whole like mindset section, and I kind of already go through. Okay, this is how you're going to feel when this situation happens. This is what's going to happen. You know, so I already play that out, so that way when they are going through it, they just know. Okay, I know I'm supposed to go through this. Like I just need to get over it. You know. Yeah.
So what kind of pushed you into teaching real estate?
I've had a lot of people asking me to mentor, like a lot. So initially what happened was people would ask me, "Hey, how did you do this with no money? How did you do this with, you know, all that debt? How did you do this working full time? Like I don't even have people are like, I don't even have time for a full-time job. How did you do this?" And then they're like, "How did you do this raising?" Yeah, they're like, "How did you do this raising two boys?" I was like, honestly, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know, but I would give them 5-minute answers, you know? And so I just one day I was like, you know what? Like I'm not doing justice to these people who are asking these questions because it's not like a 5-minute answer. There's a lot that goes into it. So then when I got sick during COVID, you know, like you can't really go out and do anything, right? So like I had started my book, and that during those 2 weeks, I just sat down, put my head down, between watching Breaking Bad with my son and and writing the book. I got it pretty much like knocked out during that time, you know. So in that book is kind of where I explain like my journey, like you know what I went through and all of that. But I also included case studies in there too because I want people to know that this is all real. Like I have exact numbers in there. You know, nothing. That book was completely written word for word by me. Like I didn't have a ghostwriter or anything like that. So I wanted people to know like this is possible, and here are some strategies that I use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question was
what was it like, you know, as a mom? Like, I mean, I know, like you mentioned this a lot about like you know how we were able to like you know become very successful and stuff like that. But how, along the way, you're also the mom of two boys. How is that juggling both acts?
It was not easy. I would say that. I mean, had to give up a lot. Like I probably didn't watch TV for 7 years. Like for the first, when I was going to school, like during that time, and a few years into the real estate, like I had to give that up. My social life was basically family parties that were necessary because you know how like there's like a ton of family parties. So I'd always go to like, the weddings and the Eids and stuff like that. But I would skip out like on some of those little ones. And then friends wise, my friends were real estate. They're all in real estate. So I kind of between my own family, my kids, my extended family, and then just a little bit of a social life with real estate investors. That's basically my life at that time. So with the kids, like if I had to go look at a property, I would be like, "Hey kids, we're going to go look at a house, field trip." You know what? They didn't mind, but yeah, after some time, like, "Oh man, we have to go again." Sometimes they would find it exciting because some of the houses were, uh, they had those hoarders, right? So like when you go through hoarder houses, and then there's like these antiques and things like that. So that was like exciting for them, you know, that sort of stuff. So it was like a hit or a miss, you know, but they did kind of know what I went through, which I think is nice today because they do really appreciate all the work that I've done, and they were able to witness that. And the thing is that also, like, I was always worried as a single mother having two boys. Like, as they are getting older and bigger and taller and stronger than me, like, how am I going to raise these boys knowing that they know, like, you know, they're mentally strong, or not mentally strong, or physically stronger than me, and that sort of stuff, right? So the thing is that kids, I try to do the best to raise them best as I can. But I think for them to see the environment, the business environment, the real estate investors, like my growth, and like me them having be a part of it, coming to the meetings with me and things like that. Like it's a different type of. They don't see you as just a mom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They see you as a like other people would be like, oh my God, you're so lucky you have a mom like who's doing
Yeah.
all this, whatever. So it kind of puts something else into their mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think that really helped with not having to worry about,
Yeah.
sometimes what can happen with teenage kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always great to have a role model as a parent to you can look up to and kind of walk into their steps.
Yeah.
So, mashallah.
Yeah, I would never think. I always used to think a role model, like a father's a role model to their sons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I had to take a little bit of a different, thing, but I guess it worked out.
Yeah,
So
mashallah,
yeah,
mashallah.
yeah.
So like one thing I always think about is like, okay, like I have 4 kids of my own. Like whatever I do from a business standpoint, I want to involve my kids. So
Mhm.
yeah, something with you, like your kids are now a lot older than when you first started off. Are they also now involved in like investing in real estate
Yes,
and
they are.
real estate deals?
Yeah, so my older son, he's a partner in 5 of my properties. Like,
Mashallah.
and he took the good ones too. So basically what happened was he saw me doing this, right? So he's
Yeah.
like, Mom, he's like, I want to do real estate. But I don't want to do anything. You're good at it. You do it. And I was like, no. I helped him with the first one. I kind of like, he came with me and whatever. I kind of gave that one to him as just to get him into it, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one, he's like, yeah, you're just good at it. You do it, And I'm like, no, you got to bring something to the table. I'm not gonna like just invest for you, right?
Yeah.
So, he had some online businesses of his own or whatever it is. So what he did was he saved up. He was 20, 22, 23 at the time. And he saved up a couple $100,000 from his online businesses. He's like, will this help? And I'm like, yes. I'm like, this will help. So
Okay.
then I'm like, okay, now you can partner with me. You'll be the money person, whatever the case is. And so we got involved that way. Yeah. So he's doing his business. He's an entrepreneur. But he still works from my house because he's like gonna milk it till he can. And then my younger one is in his last year of DePaul. So
Oh, mashallah,
yeah,
mashallah.
so he's gonna get into it too. He kind of helps me with all my Airbnbs, installing the cameras, the lights, making sure everything is like operationally running. So he's more like hands-on in the business.
Mashallah,
Yeah.
mashallah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you measure success? What's your end goal? Where do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years?
I measure success very differently now. It's not about the amount of money I have. It's about every moment that you can spend knowing that you have control of it. So basically, it's all about experiences to me, right? So if I can go have fun with my family on vacation, it's something that I want to do. If I want to just watch TV because I didn't watch it for 7 years, like that's something that I want to
Yeah.
do. If I want to get up at, you know, 11 o'clock in the afternoon, like it's my choice. And
Yes.
being able to control your own life, I think is, I would say like my biggest lesson is I always thought it was about money, but money is just something that you as a tool that
Yes.
you should try to get as much as you can,
Yes.
I know there's people out there that have that mindset of, too much money will cause problems and that sort
Yeah,
of
I agree.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I would say no, actually, the more you have, the more you can actually give back too. It's
Yes.
not like you're hoarding it for
Yes.
yourself,
Yeah.
So as a business person, yeah, of course, I would want to make as much as I can because that'll just give me a lot more to play with,
Yes.
not just for myself, but something more outside of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a better person when you have enough money, and you can do a lot better in the society and the community as well.
Yeah.
So, what is one advice that you would give to your younger self from the perspective that you have now?
My younger self, I would say there's two things that I would work on. One is definitely mindset. Uh, I actually took life coaching classes, and we learned all about the subconscious mind. And I learned that the first 7 years of anyone's life, the brain is like a sponge. So whatever your parents are doing, whatever people around you are doing, they're taking it in. They're not really like, yes, they're learning, but they're learning basically because they're taking all this information in.
Yes.
So a lot of their subconscious mind is active at the time. And so then from beyond the 7 years now, they're, obviously the subconscious there, but now they're thinking more consciously, making decisions and things like that. They're not solely relying on their parents for everything, right? So I wish I would like my younger self. Since I was a middle child, I had middle child syndrome, so I felt left out or whatever the case, and a lot of it, probably just came from my own, you know, um, thing. And then I was I'm left-handed too, so like, today left-handers don't really mean anything, but think about, like 30, 40 years ago, whatever it was like, okay, left-handed, something's wrong with you, like that kind of thing. And like my parents would try to get me to eat with my right hand, and like, which they succeeded at. So I eat with my right hand, but everything else I still do with my left hand, right? So, but things like that when you're a kid, they affect you, right? So I didn't have much self-esteem and confidence when I was younger, and which affected me from like a making progress, like in school and stuff. Like I didn't do well in school. Like I did well in school for the first maybe 10 years, 12 years of my life. I remember being like top of the class, but then something started happening at the age of 13, 14. And as my confidence went down, because I started making up things in my head of believing things about myself. I'm not good enough. I'm dumb, whatever the case is. My confidence went down, and my results in school, uh, basically went down as well. So um, then what happened was I started doing good like at work, and as my boss was complimenting me, I'm like, oh, okay, like, I can do this. And so I just did better and better. So I realized that mindset, how you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself, is number one. Like that should be taught to everybody. Like,
100%.
yeah. So that's what I would say my younger self, because I think if I did that, I would have been successful in my own right way earlier than than today. Yeah.
But everything
Yeah.
happens in due time.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's the funniest story that you've ever encountered in your
Funniest.
career?
Okay.
Funniest story.
Funniest. Okay. So there was this one time. It was like my fourth property. It was in a suburb called Evergreen Park. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
It's in the south suburbs of Chicago. It's, by the way, a great rental area. So I was doing a rehab there, and I had a couple painters that were like big dudes. They were like, gonna paint the place and kind of fix it up a little bit for me or whatever. And so I had called one of them up, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Are you guys almost done? And he's like, yeah, we're almost done. But I'm like, okay, because I want to go check it out. He's like, oh, just so you know, like if you're gonna go check it out, don't go at night. I'm like, why? Like why does it matter? And I'm thinking he's gonna say something like, oh, because it's not safe or whatever. He's like, oh, we saw a ghost there. There was some Mexican Hispanic man in a red flannel in the hallway. We saw him. I'm like, are you guys serious? He's like, yeah, we're serious. He's like, it's not just me. He's like, my partner also heard banging, like noises on the door or whatever it is. I'm like, okay. I'm like, maybe these guys were just drinking. I don't know what they were thinking. Okay. So then, and then I was like, a couple days later, so I just ignored, I just let it go. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. So then I was talking to my HVAC guy, which has nothing to do with these people. And he's like, because he was going to fix the furnace or whatever. He's like, he's like, I'm done fixing the furnace, but there was just like some strange noises, And so I was like, now I'm like, wait, there's got to be something, because whatever. But so anyways, I was like, oh my God, like, so now like I'm freaked out. But I was like, you know what? I have to go. It's my house, right? So I went during the day, like a day later, because I had to check to make sure everything was done. And I remember standing at the door, and then I was just like at the door. I was like, oh, like God, please protect me. So I read all my like surahs and everything like that, like all my prayers and duas. And then I just opened the door, and I'm like, ghost, if you're in here, can you please leave? Because like like just being really nice to whatever entity might have been over there. And then yeah, I didn't hear anything, see anything, and like at all, like everything was fine. And I had tenants move in, and they never complained about anything, and they lived there for 7 years. So yeah, my little learning lesson is maybe just, instead of being afraid and fearful, just say your prayers and act like you're protected. Yeah.
Is it true that rumors like these affect the price of the property?
No, that was just a rumor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe if somebody
General.
died in a property, or if there's some sort of crime scene that goes on,
The value would go down.
yeah, there are like houses that are known to be haunted houses. Like they're actually like known in the community to be haunted houses. Then yes, something like that would make um the value, like perceived value, go down,
You
right?
invest in a property like that?
Not that one that I knew that I know particularly is haunted. I know one of my agents in Lansing was telling me, she pointed a house out to me and saying that house like has to be haunted because there's always something that happens in there and the people leave. So like if that house has a reputation like that, then yes.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I remember during that time, what was funny was I started like looking up Ghostbusters and things. And there's actually I found stuff online where people actually, I was about to hire them, but I didn't see anything. But there's people that come in, they bring all these cameras to the house at night, and they record to see if there's any type of activity. So I was this close to hiring them, but
For real, there's people like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the TV. It was Ghostbusters.
There was
The
a
TV
movie.
show.
Yeah.
It was a movie. Yes.
Yeah, it was a movie. No. I looked it up because I was like, oh crap, if this is real, I need to figure out if there's any way that this we can get rid of it or whatever the case is. And I Googled it, and there was several companies who like,
Oh, it sounds like a fun career.
a fun career. Yeah. And I remember having a 20-minute consultation with the guy too, and he explained exactly what he was doing. I was like, oh wow.
Did it make sense?
Yeah. It did make sense. Yeah, because they can detect on some sort of camera, like if there's some. Yeah, it made sense. But yeah, I think I scared the ghost too.
With the dwells and the
Yeah.
So, like, real estate's changed a lot since you first, got in the game and stuff like that. So if you had to, start again, what are a couple of things that you would look into, like maybe changing or doing differently than when you first started out?
So definitely, you're right. Real estate, the market has changed. It's a lot. I mean, it's always been competitive, but I feel like more and more people are getting into real estate. The prices are not what they were when I first started in 2014, 2015. I could get properties for 60, 70, 80, $90,000, where today those same properties are like 210, 215, but I always feel like there's a strategy, that you can always shift and change. Like, doesn't matter if the market's going up or down. Just like how you hear in stocks, whether the stocks are going up or down. Yeah. So it's similar in real estate. So what I did was when during COVID, when people stopped investing because we didn't know what was going on. And I stopped for about a month and a half too. I stopped buying, but then I remembered something, that when everybody is running away, that's when you move forward, right?
Yeah.
So that at that time is when I actually went in and bought two or three properties. And during COVID, if you guys remember, everybody was looking for a home because the people, those were in apartments, like 2-3 families living together. They wanted to be out, right? Because of the whole COVID thing, and like there was not much inventory and things like that. So the few flips that I did during that time, 20-30,000 over asking because of the market, So it's just remembering, history, remembering, like the kind of thinking about how to being creative. I think Airbnb was dead during COVID, right? But right after COVID was done, I decided that there's another house in Lombard that I have, not too far from here, and I was going to make it a rental. And I remember at that time, I was like, let me try Airbnb on this one. So I got it furnished and everything like that. And it did so well. It did so well. And then after that, I made every one of my houses after that like Airbnb. The next 12 houses were all like Airbnbs. Or put them on VRBO and things like that. And I've done midterm rentals as well. So just making sure that the portfolio is diversified.
Of course,
I have not just, when people think diversified, they think of just maybe in a different state, but different state, and different types of properties in your portfolio.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So post COVID, a lot of people got into Airbnb, and they were doing arbitrage. They were doing all kinds of different things.
Mhm.
So how's the landscape now? Because I see a lot of people on Instagram, they're losing money on Airbnb.
Mhm.
So what's the landscape like right now?
See, the thing is, the reason why people lose money on Airbnb is first they think Airbnb is just for vacation rentals, like where people
Yeah.
go vacationing, right? And the thing is, like a lot of those places are saturated. Like every other house is, on Airbnb. So you have to go in an area where there's not a lot of Airbnb activity going on. So that's one thing. Um, Another is what is the quality of the people in that area? So sometimes in those south suburbs, like I have an Airbnb in the south suburbs, but it's in a little bit of a nicer south suburb. So it's not my greatest Airbnb, but it's more money than I would make as a long-term rental. And so I'm
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
with that, okay? But there are other people who have had Airbnbs in those south suburb areas, like places like Calumet City and those type of areas. Well, what happens is the price per night is no one's going to pay $500 a night
course.
for a property over there, right?
Yeah.
Now you take property management fees and Airbnb takes fees and things like that. And then what type of people are coming in that area to vacation? A lot of times, some of those houses, because the prices are lower, they attract certain type of, customers, and then, there's things that happen in the house. So,
Yeah.
and then there's more maintenance, right? So you have to do proper research, and then is the house a right house for an Airbnb? If like this house per se is
It's
an Airbnb, yeah, thank you. This house had two bathrooms, three bedrooms. So to maximize it, what I did was there was an open area, so I added a bedroom and another bathroom. So now it's four bedrooms and three bath. Now, if someone's going to pay on a weekend $500 a night here, if you only have one bathroom, would two or three families want to stay in a property that has just one bathroom? No. And that's sometimes what the mistake people make. They'll just take something and make it $300-400 a night, but there's only one bathroom, right? And so who's going to pay $300 a night when you can get a hotel down the street for like $199 or whatever the case is, right? So you have to think in term. You have to kind of put yourself into as a customer. So a property like this, which is could be $525 a night, in the summer months. 2-3 families can stay. So when you split that cost between 2-3 families, now it's like exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just those type of things. So people, I notice, get into businesses, real estate, whatever they get into, out of excitement because of their emotions or just because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
But not really digging down to do the work, because it's not. You have to pull the emotion out of business.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's great advice. You really have to be pragmatic with everything that you do.
Yeah, be passionate, but know, yes, be passionate, but know when you're on that high, because when you're on that high, everything seems great, right? It's just like when you get married at first, or whatever it is, like it's like
honeymoon.
yeah, honeymoon phase, right? It's like everything is great. It's the same thing with business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, no, I agree. I've been experiencing it.
So something like a lot of people fear, like okay, like getting into real estate, like I'm gonna wait for the perfect time, or I'm gonna get into a lot of debt, or I'm already in debt. So it's like speaking from your experience, you were in debt at the time that you got involved. So, what would you recommend to people who want to get into real estate but are uh afraid of getting into debt, or they're already in debt and they can't do it? What's your recommendation?
So my recommendation is for anyone, regardless of if you have nothing to if you have $1 million sitting in an account, like definitely get into real estate. Now, but you're going to get into real estate in different ways depending on your circumstances. So somebody that has a bunch of credit and not a dollar in their bank account, I'm not going to say, oh, like go sign up for a course, go put on a credit card and use your last dollar. I'm not going to say that. There is a lot of free information out there, and the quicker you get into reviewing that material, I mean, how hard is it to go on YouTube, or a lot of these people have, like, even if you pay a couple $100, it can get you something, right, to start on. You could start like looking at houses in the areas that you want to invest in, things like that. So at least get into it. And then when you get yourself into a place, like definitely, I would say get a mentor. Like, I think a mentor is really important because even though there's a lot of information out there, there's a lot of contradicting information because there's hundreds of gurus out there that teach you real estate. Somebody's going to say arbitrage is not the best. Some people will say, oh, it's great, right? Like, to me personally, arbitrage can work for some people, but if I don't have control, like if the landlord is like, sorry, I'm selling the house, or sorry, like I don't want this to happen anymore, my insurance, or whatever the case is, you have bookings out in the future. So that's going to affect, right? So like there's pros and cons to everything. So the thing is, get a mentor because that'll save you from making a huge costly mistake. And if you invest, it's like investing in anything. Like investing in a mentor is like investing in a business, right? So like, you have a business, right? And I'm sure you put in a couple dollars to start the business that you started, right? Right. You can't put nothing in and expect things to happen, right? It's not just time. It's like, yeah, you could put all the time in the world, but you need to put money in as a resource as well. So think of real estate investment as an investment in yourself, and you're putting that money into yourself to do it right.
Yeah. And you need to have working capital as well. So is that the same with real estate, or you just put in some money?
You should have some because again, there are people that you could partner with if you don't have much working capital. There are hired money loans you can get, and private money lenders as well, who may give you 100%. If the deal is that good, they may finance the whole thing, the purchase and the rehab.
Okay.
So that's a possibility. Now, the thing is, why mentorship is so important is that if you're just out, let's just say you're new to real estate and you're going to go to him and be like, hey, I have this deal, give me 100% purchase and rehab. They're gonna be like, who are you? Like, like what I mean, right? But if I go to him and I extend him a deal and he's like, you have 50 deals under your belt, he's more likely to give it to me. As a mentor, if I'm telling you, hey, I've vetted his deal, like it's good to go, like that. I'm not telling you to invest in it. I'm just saying, hey, the property looks good to me. And that way, maybe there's something that you guys can work out.
An extra layer of credibility.
Yeah, exactly. Just somebody making sure that the property seems to be good. But, it's not like it's like that in anything, right? Like you just, you have to build yourself up to it.
Yes. Yeah. So real estate and wealth building institute, what is the best, like who is the best student that you've had so far, and what have they achieved? And
so I've been mentoring for several years, but not like just for free, I guess I would say. Meaning like as people ask me questions and whatever, I'll sit down with them and things like that. I've done that for several years, but recently in the past few months, I've opened up my own company. So I have a couple students now, but I have a student that just started about 2 months ago, and they've already had their first property under contract. Not under contract, it's closed. And they've already started doing the rehab. So it's it's their very first property with real estate. So what I did was I had them partner up with somebody.
Okay.
And I think it's a really good match for them because the other partner brings in like the capital, and then this partner doesn't have the experience, but they know that they're being mentored by me. So that's one thing. The other thing is that they don't have a job right now. So they're able to go to the property like almost every day, every other day. So they're making sure that those rehab numbers are accurate and going there and meeting and getting all those different quotes and stuff like that. So it's and then the other ones are busy professionals. So it's kind of like it's a great partnership. So like I was happy when they closed. That I was really happy to see that. And the drive of him, like I really like the drive. A couple of students I have that their drive they have is just like out there, like and so that's what I notice of that with people that don't have much, they have that drive. And I think that sometimes like once you you attain a certain amount of success or wealth, maybe in that particular thing that drive isn't there, maybe a new business would be exciting for the other person. So
of course, no, inshallah, I'm gonna be under your wing, and I'm gonna be a student, inshallah.
Inshallah, yes.
So any closing statements that you would like to tell our audience?
Oh, sorry, audience. Hi, guys. So engaged talking to you guys. You almost forget there's an audience, right? Yeah. Some parting. I mean, I would say just some advice and tips is just get started, and even if it's like real estate is something that I think everybody should have because not only does it give you increase your net worth, okay, it gives you passive income cash flow. It gives you tax benefits as well. Like if you have a W-2, um, or you're having any money that you're making, the real estate really offsets that so that you're not paying as much in taxes. And then it's something that you can always, as long as the properties are appreciating, which they always are, um, in emergencies, you can sell it. You have something tangible you can sell. You can refinance it, pull it money out. Let's just say that you have kids to put through college and you don't know how that's going to happen. You can refinance, pull money out, and use that for that. And then it's something that you can give. It's a legacy, right? You
It
give
is, yes,
over
yes.
to. So it's something that you like as a person built.
Generational.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you're giving it to. So I think that I think real estate, and that's why I said they all these people are wealthy because of real estate, and there's a
Yes.
reason why. So I would say just get started, and it's not really about how many properties you own. It's not about the money, honestly. It's about once you get to a point where you don't have to depend on your 9 to 5, it's that time. It's just so valuable. I have a quote, like
Yeah.
the quote is, I didn't realize that how valuable, like I thought real estate was valuable, but time is actually my most
Yes.
valuable asset. Yeah, it is. And the experiences. So
MashaAllah,
yeah.
that's amazing advice. And thank you all for staying tuned to this amazing episode. We got to learn so much and about the life, the struggles, and how Farrah Ali built herself. MashaAllah, it's very commendable. Do check her book out. And this is Voices of Power. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.